What is your take on the emergence of multidisciplinary practices in India?
Multidisciplinary has worked because there are too few, actually. I think we require more multidisciplinary practice. Because, like I said, historically, architecture has always been multidisciplinary. We work on
Hmm.
collaboration. I think what multidisciplinary allows you is that kind of reassess yourself as
Hmm.
a part in the wheel. I think that there's this entire phase where I'm an architect and we just immediately have airs about ourselves. I feel that we are superior and we just kind of look down upon an MEP engineer
Yes.
just doing a 50 pipe and stuff. That's not how the world is. And I think what multidisciplinary practices taught us is that, we have our role in the entire business system of design and consultancy.
Hmm.
We have a very important role, but we can only work on collaborate. Now, when you're able to integrate those collaboration and put it under one roof, and we're able to work much more seamlessly,
Hmm.
we work with better humility.
Hmm.
And very importantly, because it's seamless and it's within that larger system, we're able to provide services which are, let's say, 20-30% faster and more
Hmm.
economic because we're not spending so much time on some external project management, just kind of coordinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have, our drawings are getting into the system. So the practices, I work in a very good multi
Hmm.
group, and, we have green building, environmental plans, we have a BOQ and a tendering unit, plus we have architecture, BIM. Not
Hmm.
that all of them come together in every we still offer a bouquet of services of what things need to come for that particular project. But in the project that we're able to do, we're able to turn out better, more efficient design in about 30-40%.
Hmm.
Um, we're not cheaper that way. Our clients who are coming to us, taking that example, they realize that if they're getting better service in about 30% better time, or at least the coordination is already kind of done,
Hmm.
I see a lot of them preferring to work with us. I think that's a healthy way to move.
Hmm.
Not everyone's baby. I don't think everyone can handle a multidisciplinary
My.
practice. Requires a
Hmm.
very strong backbone of operations and IT systems and data sharing systems and this entire internal collaborative framework by which work. I think the ones
Hmm.
that are able to do it, great. I think they are achieving new heights
Hmm.
that they're able to do. But I personally feel that it's important to kind of think just beyond architecture and have one or two more services that you can develop and do it together. But multidisciplinary, having 6, 7, not everyone would have the acumen to really kind of develop that as an organization.
How are they competing with small practices and foreign practices?
I don't think multidisciplinary companies are really working with or competing with smaller practices. And I don't think smaller practices are competing with they're working in different domains. Multidisciplinary practices are working a lot in projects done by the government sector because they require that level of complexity to handle kind of like a 500 crore green code building, and you require
Hmm.
multidisciplinary practices.
Yes.
A smaller firm is able to give you a much more personal touch.
Hmm.
A smaller firm is able to give that time. So for a client who wants to invest that time with a practice who can offer you that time,
Hmm.
comfort in the country. So I think when a smaller firm is understanding that we are a smaller firm and we're able to give you something which is not sped up, is evolved concussions, they're able to have that practice, they're able to do very well. While multidisciplinary practice are working well in the government sector and in the large scale real estate, organized real estate as well.
Hmm.
Real estate also has evolved by leaps and bounds. I have so many clients who are way more exposed than me.
Hmm.
They have seen the world, they have seen how things work, they are taking time out for a lot of kind of external. I have clients who are spending 1 or 2 years because they want to do a business management. They want to go to China and they want to spend 3 months and see how work since architect. Once we finished 5 years of architect and 2 years of post graduation, we're like, geez, we've
Yeah.
given
Too
7 years
much.
of my life. We're not really into continual learning. So talk
Hmm.
about things, but I don't think we're investing that. A lot of clients are much more exposed based on the kind of practices and architectural practices they have seen in, let's say, Singapore or in UK or US. They're
Hmm.
also expecting multidisciplinary practice. So that's working. With foreign companies,
Hmm.
I think that tussle is still there. And I think that tussle will be there as long as a lot of the architectural exposure that some of the foreign companies are kind of bringing in.
Hmm.
So we've had the opportunity to collaborate and work with some amount of foreign companies. By when I say foreign companies, I mean companies such as, let's say, DP Architects, with Sorbana, and all that kind of thing. I think a lot of the design value that they have brought, the design, I have to admit, that's true.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
have done, they have seen project cycles of projects across the world, whether it's from Oman to
Hmm.
Singapore to India itself. And let's say a particular company has done 6 to 7 IT buildings and not just done, they've seen the project cycle, it's completed, they know how it operates. They're able to give a certain amount of actual experience and knowledge into the design system.
Hmm.
And I think in a globalized world, we need to be working with them, then
Okay.
them. We need
Yeah.
to compete with them. I understand that that respect needs to be reciprocity. So a lot of architects, so we are working in the Middle East as well, let's say. My example,
Hmm.
we are working in
Okay.
the Middle East. There have been companies and clients who have valued what we have been providing. So we're the
Hmm.
foreign architect, the
Yeah.
one who's we are providing some amount of industry expertise, experience, design quality. We
Hmm.
have been able to, and I think it's fair. I think that kind of nationalistic pride where, India only for Indian architects, I think it doesn't work anymore. That's not how business thrives
Grant. Yes.
everywhere.
Yeah.
If they are bringing something to the table, with this, we need to acknowledge that. We need to work with that. We need to collaborate with them,
Hmm.
learn from them. Again, raise our expertise. The next time someone says, they say, you know what, you can work with them, but heck, what we're also giving you something really interesting.
Hmm.
Leave it up to
Okay.
them. And I think there are clients who are appreciating that as well.
Hmm.
I think that absolute romance with the foreign architect that was there about 10 years back, that absolute romance has kind of diminished now.
So it's more of the quality of service or the values that they are bringing on the table, because we see a lot of public infrastructure projects being handled or at least being conceptualized by foreign firms.
Yes, absolutely. I think where it becomes unfair is that when a tender is floated, when a government tender for a particular infrastructure, a large project is being floated, the unfairness happens if a politician or the body or the floating this thing, if they make a today's judgment that we only want to have foreign
Foreign
companies,
multinational.
they are not allowing an Indian company to compete with. When
Mm.
that practice happens, I think that's wrong. I think,
Mm.
but there are places where, we have seen examples where they have allowed both Indians to compete and foreign companies to compete.
Mm. No.
Situation where it has been rigged in such a way, or kind of, when I say rigged, I mean written in such a way that makes it pretty evident that they want only a foreign company to compete. So having, might say, okay, we want an annual turnover of 50 crores.
Mm. Okay.
We know that there are not none or probably just one or two companies in India which could probably provide
Have
that.
that kind of, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So that's where it becomes really unfair. But
Mm.
the fundamentality of it, I think in a globalized world, we need to be competing with them as much as they need to be competing with us. We need to take our businesses to Africa, to the Middle East,
Mm.
to Southeast Asia. And believe me, there are markets there where they are appreciating us. We don't see ourselves as the foreign architect.